Well, what we're going to be doing today in this video is we're going to be drawing some lines and trying to use simple ideas to generate some really interesting patterns. And so here's the idea behind this. We're going to draw the point 3, 2, just like this. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to rotate our coordinate system by an angle. And in doing that, we're actually making it easier to draw points. Rather than having to use our trigonometry, our law of cosines, law of sines, to figure out the location of a point, if we just want to rotate by a certain angle, we're just going to take our coordinate system, rotate it by an angle, and then plot as normal. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so here's what I've done. I have my p5js in degree mode, and I'm doing a rotation of my axes by 30 degrees clockwise. And you'll see that by drawing my grid lines, I'm just taking this and I'm rotating it by 30 degrees. But then on these this transformed axes, I'm still going right 3, up 2, and I'm plotting that point. I could do that again too. And you can see it's getting a little complicated keeping track of all those grid lines, but it's the same idea. On this next grid line, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. I'm still counting out 3 points this way and 2 points that way. You might notice this repeating code, and that's one of those things that I try to emphasize in this class, that tells you this might be a good place for a loop. So let's see if we can set up a loop to do some of that drawing. And I'm going to stop this step of doing all the grid lines every single time because it's starting to get a little overwhelming. So now you can see that instead of writing the same code over and over again, I've created a for loop that just creates these circles. It plots the circle at 3, 2, it does a rotation, and then it goes around to the next iteration of the loop. And I've defined this variable num rotations so that I can set how many times I want this to happen. So if I run the code, you can see that it's now just doing those rotations really nicely. And I can change the number of rotations from 3 to 10. And now it's going almost all the way around. And just from a very little amount of code, I'm now starting to generate kind of a neat little pattern. In this next video, we're going to play with colors and see if we can get those rotations to go all the way around in a full circle without having to do a lot of extra calculations on our own. See you there.